Starting with news from the UK, anger has now gripped families across the United Kingdom as COVID death toll in the country nears 100,000. Relatives of COVID victims have now accused the government of mishandling the pandemic. Families say that they were misled by the government. Many also say that their COVID-infected relatives were asked to stay at home as opposed to hospitalization even if they were in a poor condition. In fact, according to a report, the Prime Minister Boris Johnson-led government made several errors while tackling the public health crisis. This included delay in imposing lockdown and discharging infected hospital patients into care homes. Meanwhile, the UK government has said that it is difficult to put a timeline on when the lockdown measures will be eased.
The thing is that we have to look at the facts on the ground and we have to monitor those facts. And of course, everybody wants to have a timeline for that, but I think most people understand why it is difficult to put a timeline on it, because it's a matter of monitoring the data and the facts. This is a state contingent, not a time contingent question.
Now, WION's London Bureau Chief Mandy Clark is joining us live from London. Mandy, thank you so much for joining us. Now, families say that they have been misled by the government. What can you tell us about the situation on ground now?
Well, I think there's no denying that Britain has the highest death toll, certainly in Europe, and one of the highest death tolls around the world. And so there has been inquiries into why this is. Now the government, but hard to get away from the fact that there has been serious mishandling, miscommunication, delays in lockdown, and all those factors throughout the entire pandemic is believed to be the reason why Britain has really come out on top of the worst table imaginable, having such high deaths. It was blunders from the top. Now, the government says they're doing what they can. They're adding lockdowns. The lockdown measures are working. But really, this is a retrospective look on the mistakes that were made. Of course, these are human lives. These are huge numbers of human lives that were lost. And there's a lot of anger that the government didn't do better for its people.
So, Mandy, what can we expect in terms of corrective measures now? According to the report, Prime Minister Boris Johnson-led government made several errors, like you just mentioned, in tackling the public health crisis in the beginning, in the initial stages. What are the corrective measures that are being taken up now?
Of course, Britain remains in a national lockdown. This lockdown is expected to be reviewed February 20th, but they've already said that it's unlikely to be easy. And there really isn't an end date in sight until those numbers go down. Now, the numbers haven't gone quickly down last March, and they're blaming the variants. But I think there's a level of fatigue. So really what they truly see, is the only way out of this lockdown is the rollout of the vaccine.
Yes.
The vaccinated way out.
Yes, I was just going to ask you that. In fact, with respect to these allegations, do you think we can expect any changes in the vaccine rollout program now?
If there's one bright light in this whole coronavirus pandemic here in Britain, it is that the vaccination rollout has so far been working fairly quickly and rapidly. They've inoculated over 6 million people. It's one of the fastest rollouts we've seen. Of course, Israel is leading the charts, but that is the only ray of hope, and that is the only way they really see this working. Now, it does require almost 80% of people to agree to be vaccinated, and there's people who might not agree.
Okay, Mandy, thank you so much for joining us with all those details. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.